The Mandela Effect is one of the most perplexing and widely discussed phenomena of our day. Have you ever been quite sure that a memory was accurate, only to find out later that history says otherwise? Imagine that you had been quoting a well-known sentence from a movie for years, but it was never actually said that way. What would you do? What if the spelling of a book you loved when you were younger was completely different from what you remember? If you have a vivid memory of a significant worldwide event that never actually happened, what would you do? These unsettling contradictions have led millions of individuals to question the integrity of reality itself, causing many to wonder if something deeper is happening, such as a transition between parallel realms. The Mandela Effect is a phenomenon that occurs when a large number of people remember an event, person, quote, or historical fact differently than how it is documented in history. While some individuals believe that it could be evidence of something much more important, others dismiss it as a psychological trick of the mind. Could it be that we are traveling between different realities without being aware of it? Is it possible that history is changing right in front of us, leaving behind only bits and pieces of a past that is no longer the same? The term Mandela Effect was initially used by Fiona Broome, who is a researcher in the field of paranormal studies. After discovering that she and many others had a vivid recollection of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, she coined the word. They recalled news broadcasts, reactions from all over the world, and even specific details about his funeral. According to the historical records that we have, Mandela was released from prison in 1990 and lived until 2013. This unusual situation, in which a group of people all remembered the same incident wrongly, led to a spike in the number of other cases reported. This was because people began to examine other parts of their past that did not seem to match what had actually happened. One of the most famous examples of the Mandela Effect is the children's book series, The Berenstain Bears. Despite the fact that many readers insist that they remember the title being spelled Berenstain with a E, every book, logo, and reference that exists proves that it has always been spelled Berenstain with a A. This little but ongoing mismatch has caused many people to wonder whether they lived in a version of reality in which the spelling was different. A similar situation is the so-called Shazam movie, which a lot of individuals say they saw in the 1990s. Although there is no true movie that has comedian Sinbad as a genie, it is said that he starred in such a film. Even still, people recall certain scenes, VHS covers, and even their own experiences seeing the movie with their families. How can it be that so many people have the same false recollection that includes such detailed details? These unusual objects can be found all over pop culture. Make use of the famous lines from Darth Vader in Star Wars, "The Empire Strikes Back." Many fans have a strong memory of him stating, "Luke, I am your father," even though the exact line is, "No, I am your father." Although the change is little, it is sufficient to make people who have been pronouncing the sentence incorrectly for years feel unsure of themselves. Another well-known example is the Fruit of the Loom logo. Despite the fact that many people recall the logo featuring a cornucopia behind the fruit, there has never been a version of the design that really included one. The Kit Kat logo is another example that is widely recognized. Although there is no historical evidence to support this assertion, some people say that it used to be spelled with a hyphen, Kit Kat. Another example is the Monopoly Man. Although many people remember him wearing a monocle, he never actually wore one. Psychologists believe that the Mandela Effect is caused by the brain's basic limitations. Memory is not a perfect recording. It is a reconstruction that can be altered by outside sources, recommendations, and social reinforcement. The misinformation effect occurs when a person's memory of something is altered as a result of being exposed to incorrect information. This may be the reason that so many people believe they remember events that never actually took place. The brain's innate tendency to identify patterns and fill in gaps in information may also be responsible for the creation of false memories. For example, because many business names and logos include hyphens or cornucopias, the brain may correct the image to follow a familiar pattern. This might lead people to believe they remember something that never actually existed. Even with these psychological explanations, many individuals think that the Mandela effect is not something that can be easily dismissed. How is it possible for vast groups of people, numbering in the dozens or millions, to remember the same false memory in such detail? There are a number of various ideas that have been proposed on this issue, the most widely accepted of which being the idea that we are moving between parallel universes. If the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics is accurate, and there are other timelines, is it possible that some people are remembering events from a different past? According to this theory, these small differences, like changes in spelling, missing scenes from movies, and altered historical events, are evidence that we have accidentally entered a version of reality that is somewhat different from the one we are used to. Another idea that has been discussed frequently is that the Mandela effect is the product of manipulation, which might be due to advanced technology, covert government programs, or even time travel. Is it possible that history is changing in real time and that some people are recalling previous versions of reality? There are some people who believe that influential groups are using technology to alter historical records. Others argue that time travelers might be modifying events without meaning to, which leads to minor alterations in memory that only a small percentage of the public is aware of. But before starting this video again, don't forget to subscribe for more haunting adventures, share this video with fellow thrill seekers, and comment your thoughts below. One of the most radical but interesting theories suggests that we are currently living in a simulation. If reality is simply a highly advanced computer program, then the Mandela effect could be a sign that there are glitches in the system. Just as a software update can change certain parts of a computer game, is it feasible that our simulated reality is experiencing modifications that result in the retention of residual memories from earlier versions of history? If this is true, who or what is responsible for the simulation, and what is the motive for these modifications to reality? Further down the rabbit hole, some theorists believe that high-energy physics experiments, particularly those done by CERN's Large Hadron Collider, could be responsible for these shifts in reality. Could it be that particle collisions are unintentionally changing the fabric of space-time, which would create microscopic rifts that allow parallel worlds to bleed into our own? Some people claim that there is a connection between major Mandela effect events and scientific breakthroughs at CERN, even though traditional scientists strongly reject this idea. The Mandela effect remains one of the most significant unsolved enigmas of our era. People all around the world are still confused and intrigued by its long-lasting nature, whether it is simply a trick of human memory, a pointer to parallel universes, a sign of digital reality manipulation, or something even more bizarre. As more and more people report new Mandela effects, the conversation concerning what the Mandela effect actually is continues to grow. Are we just remembering things incorrectly? Or are we witnessing proof that the world is more unpredictable than we used to think? What does it mean for the future if the past can change at any time? Will we ever discover the truth underlying these strange differences? Or will this mystery remain unsolved? No matter how you explain it, the Mandela effect is one of the few phenomena that has ever caused us to question our understanding of reality in this way. It forces us to investigate the underlying nature of existence, regardless of whether or not this leads to groundbreaking discoveries in the domains of physics, psychology, or philosophy. You may have experienced a glimpse of the Mandela effect if you have ever been absolutely sure of something, only to later find out that it was not true. The question remains, how much of what we remember is real, and how much of what we think we know about reality is actually true? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.